Ariel, a lot of our viewers are system integrators and they are often called onto site to solve problems, but if they come across additional problems on site, how can Msolutions kind of help them when they come across kind of unexpected problems?
Okay, so thanks for this question, because Msolution actually developed a tester, which is the MS Test Pro, that most of the integrators are quite familiar with, supporting HD-based Spec 1 and 2. This year we also extended the support for HD-based Spec 3. Very important to understand that HD-based is not a LAN connectivity. This means that when we are connecting HD-based, we're actually expecting to see performance in a different way, supporting PAM16 and so on. So it's very important to understand and check the infrastructure and understand how it goes. At the same time, we're actually testing HDMI cables. HDMI cables we're testing for the different spec up to spec 2.0, supporting 4K, 8K, and we are doing it in a unique way. The way that we're testing the cables are actually based on the physical layer rather than going with patterns, because patterns are actually being used by transmitter and receiver of HDMI. The transmitter is able to add gain in order to transmit better, and the receiver has an error correction. So actually both of those are eliminating issues. So Msolution came with a unique idea to test the cable of the HDMI on a physical layer. We saw that this is working quite well. We know how to certify cables up to 8K, for example. At the same time, what we saw that this is working well, we move also to checking cables with the DC resistance based on the IEEE requirement. We saw that, and now, this year, we're seeing a lot of USB connectivity in the field. USB for cameras, USB for almost everything. So we added a unique testing option for USB-C cables. We're checking the power consumption, which can cause by different devices a lot of problems when connecting touchscreen and extending touchscreen. And we are checking also the different types of USB-C cables, because in the field we have today the same chaos, as I call it, that we had with the HDMI's cable. In the field, we are seeing cables for chargers, we are seeing USB-C cables for USB 2.0, and we are seeing cables for USB 3.0. But from time to time, you need today the DP 1.4, and you don't know how to extract and how to understand what type of cable is in front of you. So we added a new module that is able to certify and verify any USB-C cable to understand if it's good or bad, if it fits what you need.
Sure. I wanted to get your take on where you think 4K adoption is in the AV industry right now. Is it widespread? Could we be doing more? And maybe even looking forward, where do you see 8K adoption kind of taking hold?
Okay, we are seeing that today the 4K is catching up, and almost all the system, the request is to be with a 4K, 18 gig, 4K 60, 444, fully initiating the bandwidth. And this is why we came up with a new extender that supports that. Small form factor supporting USB-C, HDMI 2.0 with 18 gig. So it is capturing. At the same time, we're seeing a growing demand for 8K. And this is exactly why on our tester, I mentioned the HDMI cable testing. We increase the bandwidth so we can certify HDMI cable up to 8K based on their functional and basic infrastructure connectivity. Means we are checking actually the wires to say if the tunnel will be able to pass the signal without having error correction or without having gain. Those will improve the stability of the signal, but we need to know that the cables can carry it. This is why we already added the 8K connectivity and testing.
It's nice to hear there's some 8K out there in the AV world. Final question, Ariel, I just wanted to, interoperability is a huge issue for system integrators right now, probably one of the biggest issues, maybe if not the biggest issue. How can you guys help system integrators when they get to site and things maybe don't work? Box A doesn't talk to box B and box B doesn't talk to box C. How can you help those guys?
Standardization. Most of the time it will be just standardization. The world is moving for AV over IP, for example, but everyone is using their own proprietary solution and things like that. We at Msolutions, we decided that we take a different approach. We take an approach that, for example, AV over IP will be based on a standard form factor that is available on the market, which is H264, 265, means that you can decode the information which is running on the 1 gig switch. You can decode it with any tool that you have, VLC, any application that you have, and you can decode it with our systems. But again, if we are talking about standardization, we have the HDBaseT, we have the IP, and we have the form factors that are currently running on different switches, on different LAN connectivity, like the H264, motion JPEGs. I know also on the motion JPEG, a lot of vendors are providing AV over IP with motion JPEGs, but the main problem is that they are doing small tweaks on it. Yeah. So it's not exactly a motion JPEG or JPEG 2000 or different name, but with their own proprietary solution. And this is a problem. Yeah. If everybody will stick into a single, not a single, the market, the industry form factor and different formats that are available, we will be able to support connectivity between different vendors. Yeah. So I think that the main way to do that is to stick with an existing formats and use them in the most better way. We introduced, by the way, today with the IPMX from IMS, we introduced a bridge between HDBaseT and AV over IP. So it is possible to connect HDBaseT and AV over IP in an easy and straightforward way. But again, everybody needs to stick with the formats that are available.
Brilliant. Ariel, it's been great to talk to you. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you, Paul.